Today, I introduce to you Heather Grimaldi. She is the founder of Proof Positive ABA Therapies, an organization of highly trained and compassionate specialists who provide treatment based on the principles of applied behavior analysis, ABA, the most widely researched and scientifically validated method known for treating autism. Armed with empathy, driven by her passion for helping families, and anchored by her own experience as a devoted mother, Heather built Proof Positive ABA Therapies into one of the largest and most respected institutions of its kind. As a behavior analyst, that's a BCBA, and a clinical director, Heather's focus was on supporting families and team members tasked with implementing behavior interventions. Proof Positive ABA Therapies developed individualized treatment plans designed specifically to teach self-help and social skills with a family-focused approach and an emphasis on parent education, distinguishing themselves as trusted and hands-on care providers. In late 2016, the long-running Autism Learning Partners created one of the largest autism therapy platforms in the US with its acquisition of Proof Positive. Heather proudly continues her work with families as clinical liaison and a business development executive with Autism Learning Partners in Orange County. Heather, welcome. It's wonderful to be speaking to you today. We also are very honored to have with us Dr. Kristen Shea from America. Dr. Shea is an experienced healthcare professional and educator who carries a deeply personal passion for functional medicine. She holds a Doctor of Chiropractic from Southern California University of Health Sciences, a Master's of Science in Clinical Psychology, and a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology. Wow. As an educator, she has instructed college-age students on a wide array of subjects, including nutrition, anatomy, embryology, and overall health and fitness. Dr. Shea is a licensed clinical exercise specialist with the American College of Sports Medicine. Over the course of her career, she earned professional licensure with the American Heart Association and memberships with a number of esteemed professional organizations, including the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association and the American Pregnancy Association. Dr. Shea's interest in identifying nutrient deficits and dietary supplementation began with her own personal wellness, inevitably extending outward to friends, family, and clients. All I can say is that I couldn't be speaking to two more educated and passionate individuals who are going to be imparting their knowledge to us today and going to be explaining how their product, Simple Spectrum Solution Nutrition, can support many children with a learning deficit, autism, ADHD, and so on. So without further ado, let me ask you, why did you get together and design Simple Spectrum?
Great question. Such an honor to be on here. Thank you so much for having us. Honestly, you went into talking about me starting an ABA company. I owned an ABA company. I would be in families' homes, and I'd hear about families going to functional medicine doctors and seeing such a difference. And I saw that, this is something that a lot of parents don't have access to. It's very expensive. Geographically, they don't have access to. And in 2016, I actually kind of was thrown kicking and screaming because of all the stuff going on with my own daughter. and getting into functional medicine doctors, it was not something easy to do. And it was very expensive. And like I said, there's countries that don't have access to something like this. So we really wanted to create a product that was more accessible, affordable, available, just to families, that they can have access to something like this. I was also super horrified to learn in most supplements what's in most supplements. And so we really thought it was very important to do things like third-party tests and go above and beyond, and test and confirm what you say is in your product is actually in your product. Creating products that are free of gluten, casein, binding agents, no sugar, no artificial colors, flavoring. I had no idea. Like, I'll get into this a little bit later, but one of my daughters has ADHD, and I see a huge difference when even certain colors that she eats and that kind of stuff. And I had no idea. Like, I'm a BCBA. I didn't know the impact nutrition played. And now here I am, and I know so much more about that kind of stuff, but I'll let Dr. Shea chime in too.
It's so wonderful that you can share all of that, especially because you've had your own personal experience with your daughter with ADHD. Let me ask you, why is nutrition and diet so important for proper brain function? And this is something that I really try to explain to parents. Why would you say it's important?
So, dealing with nutrition, what we eat quite literally becomes us, becomes our tissues. So we take the energy from the food and we convert it into how well our bodies work. And this includes the nutrients that are in the food. So if you have a lower quality food, a food with less nutrients, what's going to happen is it's going to yield physiology that functions less well. Or over time, our bodies aren't going to work as well. This includes our brain. Our brain is part of that. As an example, B vitamins. B complex vitamins are very important for our nervous system and our brain. If we're eating foods that are not having enough B vitamins in them for us, then eventually what's going to happen is we are going to be operating in a deficit and our brains are not going to function as well. Also, this includes our gut, which I know we're going to talk about as well. There's going to be a gut-brain connection. So 80 to 90% of all the neurotransmitters that we produce are produced in the gut. This is what our brain uses as a chemical to signal between cells. So if we take in food that is of lesser quality, lesser nutrients, it's going to affect our brain and ultimately our mood and behavior.
What does Simple Spectrum offer children who are picky eaters? I speak to 3 to 4 parents a day, and I always ask them, what foods does your child eat? And a lot of the times the children are restricting their diets to 2 or 3 foods. What benefit does Simple Spectrum offer these picky eaters?
Well, I think in general, we create an unflavored dissolvable powder so you can hide it in some of the foods and give them that proper nutrition that they need. Because, being a BCBA, I actually do a lot of food programs, introducing new foods to kids. And we see kids that are on the spectrum or just very picky eaters that maybe only eat 1 or 2 foods. My daughter included, she eats maybe 4 different foods. And so it was really important for us to create an unflavored dissolvable powder. And I'll let you kind of chime in.
Yeah, so just being able to get because obviously in Simple Spectrum, we created it with the variety of nutrients and vitamins that are needed, specifically targeted to things that are more likely to be seen deficient through the research. And so that you're getting that variety, because when you only limit yourself to 1 or 2 foods, we eat a variety typically because if you think of just in terms of different colors, different colored foods offer different types of nutrients. So you need to eat a varied diet in order to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that your body needs.
And I think also one of the things that's really important about our product too is the bioavailability and absorption. So even sometimes a child might be eating some of it, but not properly absorbing it as well.
I love that you raised that. And I always tell parents that I meet that autism is a digestive disorder. It is a metabolic disorder, and it's autoimmune. It's not psychiatric, as the old school of thought has labeled autism over so many years. Which ingredients in the supplement will support the nervous system, and why is this important?
Oh, well, with the nervous system, obviously one of the big components are the B vitamins. B vitamins are very huge with the nervous system. So just as an example, there's a whole variety. So B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B9, and B12, and B7 7 as well. So when you're not getting that variety of nutrients, typically some of the symptoms that you're going to see are things like fatigue, irritability, decreased alertness. Some of the other signs and symptoms too don't necessarily speak specifically to the nervous system, but cracks and sores around the mouth, swollen tongue, and also mood changes. These are just some signs that your nervous system isn't working as it properly should. So B vitamins are very huge with the nervous system and the brain, of course.
I'm so happy to hear you say this, Dr. Shareli, because so many of the families I consult with have their children taking psychiatric medication. When I start telling them about B vitamins, you know, this is the first they hear of it. And I don't have doctor behind my name. So to hear it from Dr. Shay is really very informative. And I'm so glad that you can share that information. Now, in your mission statement, you say that Simple Spectrum contains the highest quality of vitamins and minerals. Please, can you tell us more about this?
So high quality for us is all about bioavailability. Okay, so different types of vitamins and minerals have different chemical forms. And those forms range from not usable or not bioavailable to highly usable or highly bioavailable. As an example, B12, the most common form is called cobalamin. This is a lower bioavailable form because when you ingest cobalamin, your body has to take that chemical substance and it has to convert it into a usable form. So with someone who has a methylation issue, which is common in children with autism, it can be more difficult, even if you are consuming B12, to be able to convert it to the form that is needed. So a more bioavailable form, which is actually the most recommended treatment for children with autism, is methylcobalamin. So we look for the more bioavailable form, so it's easier with someone who does have digestive issues to be able to have the nutrients in their readily available forms. This also includes, like Heather was saying before, what we don't include in the supplement. We don't have casein, we don't have gluten, we don't have artificial flavors and ingredients, we don't have soy. So all those things that people can be sensitive to, the more sensitive foods or ingredients, we don't include those as well.
Yeah. I also think that it's things that we don't, once again, that are very high quality. We have a hypoallergenic facility. We're made in the USA. All these things like third-party testing are all things that we do that we think sets us higher standards and above the rest. And honestly, we created this product in hopes we want other people to start doing this and creating better products and putting better products, because I think a lot of people aren't aware of how unregulated the supplement world is and things you can find in there. Like, we third-party test to confirm what you say is in your product is actually in your product. And I think 98% of products out there don't do something like that. And you're finding metals, bacteria, and that's terrifying. You're finding these in our supplements. So I hope that more supplement companies do that and do things like third-party test.
You know, living in South Africa, parents are pretty limited with the choice of which supplements they can purchase. And over the years, parents have asked me, you know, can I get this brand, or what do you think of this? And I've always said to them, I'm a bit of a snob. I like the best things. And if I'm going to do things, I'm going to do it right. And I like to get my supplements from America. And, you know, my kitchen would look like a pharmacy because I would have every single vitamin there. And my children had no choice. If I said, if ABA out the window, if I said take it, we would stand in the kitchen until they took it. You know, there was just no ways that pill was not going down. And then your product was brought to my attention. And, you know, before I learned about your product, I used to say to families, I don't like the product you're suggesting to me because it was manufactured by people in South Africa that don't really understand the makeup of autism or ADHD. Once I found your product, I became so excited and encouraged that this was actually available in South Africa because it is manufactured by people like the two of you who actually truly understand the underlying causes of autism, ADHD, learning challenges. And when you have a product that's manufactured by people that truly understand and have researched and studied, that's when you're going to get the best supplement. So the fact that this is now available in South Africa to South African parents, to parents on the African continent, I think is just simply amazing. And I was very happy, Dr. Shea, to hear from you. Both of you have highlighted that the product is free of gluten and dairy and soya. And I tell the parents on a daily basis that they need to avoid those things for children on the spectrum, children with ADHD. And then you also raised MTHFR and methylation. Tell us more about methylation and why is this important for language?
Dealing with language specifically, there are many different nutritional deficiencies that have been observed in children with autism. So we do want to make sure that we do address all of them, not just ones specifically like B12 that we talked about with language. But dealing with language, like I said before, methylcobalamin is one of the most recommended treatments for children with autism. And when they give it to children with autism, what they observe is improvements in language, in social and cognitive skills. So with methylation, so because that there are issues with the MTHFR gene, methylation becomes an issue. And so those supplements aren't able to be converted properly. And so methylcobalamin basically bypasses that step and you get it in the readily usable form. And so it can basically help to address that deficiency because it's able to be better absorbed.
I understand. And tell me, we were talking about all the B vitamins. B vitamins, are they also important for what we call mitochondrial function? And, often I tell parents about the mitochondria and that it's the engine of the cell. Tell us about mitochondrial function and how that plays a role in both autism and ADHD.
Okay, so like you just said, the engine of the cell, so the powerhouse of the cell. So what the mitochondria does is it's a little tiny machine inside of each and every one of our cells, and it produces about 90% of the energy that our body needs. So that's why it's called the engine or the powerhouse. But it is also involved in other things. It helps to make DNA, RNA, so very important, hemoglobin, different hormones, and it also helps with detoxification of the cell. So the cell itself needs to make sure that it's removing the toxin. So the mitochondria helps with this. So the dysfunction comes in when this little particular piece of the cell stops working properly. So we see this commonly in children with autism. A dysfunction. It's either considered genetic or it can be acquired when being exposed to some sort of like toxic environment. What you'll see is less energy. You'll see increased cellular aging, which you won't necessarily see that on the outside. But what ends up happening is the most affected tissues of the body happen to be ones that need a lot of energy: the heart, the brain, the muscles, the lungs, okay? Your body is less able to deal with stress when the mitochondria are not functioning properly. So when a child with autism is in a certain situation where they're starting to feel too much stress, it's a little bit harder to deal with because of their physiology. Their physiology is not allowing for them to be able to deal with stress. So the way that we treat this mitochondrial dysfunction is there's several different things, lifestyle approaches. One, exercise. Exercise is important to get the mitochondria moving and functioning and to reduce the oxidative stress, right? So you're hyper-flooding the environment with exercise with oxygen, you're helping to move reactive oxygen species out of the body, okay? You also have to make sure that you avoid toxins. Avoiding toxins in your environment, products you use, things you consume, things you put on your skin, the air you breathe. So you want to try to avoid toxins to not overload the system anymore. Also getting enough sleep. What do we do when we sleep? Our body repairs itself. So you're wanting to make sure that you're getting enough sleep so that the body's able to regenerate during the night. And there's also some specific nutrients that are really good to help the mitochondria work properly. And those would include CoQ10, the B complex vitamins, there they are again, magnesium, acetyl L-carnitine, and turmeric. And I will say that Simple Spectrum Supplement, we actually have all of those ingredients in Simple Spectrum Supplement to help the mitochondria start to work properly again. So these are things that you can do to be able to make sure that you're cellularly working properly.
I have seen all those ingredients in the product, and I was so happy to see the combination that you chose. It's simply amazing. It really, really is. And I was using a similar product. I think I was using about 4 or 5 products to kind of get the same result for my younger son, who's now 8 years old and in grade 2 at mainstream school. And I needed kind of like a B vitamin complex for him because he does have the mitochondria gene expression and DNA expression, and he needed the mitochondria support. And I was using 4 or 5 products to kind of get the coenzyme Q10, the magnesium, the B vitamin, to give him that mitochondrial support. And since I started using your product, I'm getting exactly the result in one product that I was getting from actually using 5 different things. And he's so much happier just taking your product in the morning, one shot, it's done, and it's really giving me the same results. Now, I was reading through the reviews of your product on your website, and I saw that a lot of parents have reported that their children have started sleeping through the night. I mean, children on the autism spectrum, the parents are emotionally drained, they're physically drained. I can see Heather nodding. BCBA, she knows, she's helped them with sleep training. What's in there that's helping them sleep?
Magnesium is a huge one that, magnesium is a big one.
Magnesium is huge. But like I said before, when there's deficiencies, you need to make sure that all of them are addressed, because our physiology needs all of these nutrients to work together. The nutrients don't just help one function, they also help other nutrients to work properly. So they're considered cofactors or part of co-reaction. So we need to make sure that all nutrient deficits are addressed so that our whole bodies can function properly. And like Heather said, magnesium is huge.
Yeah.
And so,
I like to highlight, I just wanted to go back on what you highlighted. I think one of the big reasons also we created the product like we did is creating an all-in-one, because we understand it's not always realistic to get your child to take multiple things and multiple products. It was so hard. One of the times I left the hospital with my daughter, I had a list of all these different supplements I'm supposed to be giving her. And I'm like, I can't even get her to eat. How am I supposed to get her to take all these different things? And I think that that's what we hear so often from parents. Sorry to go back to that. That's something that is really important to us, and trying, once again, it's an unflavored dissolvable powder, and make it as easy as for parents and child to take.
I absolutely agree with you. Now, I hear this from parents all the time. How do you expect me to get my child to take this? And that's what's so easy about your product. It's one scoop. You can sprinkle it on the food. You can put it in something they like to have, and it goes down. And they're getting this beautiful all-round multivitamin that's supporting all those metabolic imbalances and helping that digestive system that is not working properly, because children on the autism spectrum, children with ADHD, are missing essential vitamins and minerals. And parents are reporting, and I saw this as well on your website, that the children are more focused, they're calmer once they're taking Simple Spectrum. Now, we were talking about toxin, and how do toxins land up causing inflammation? How does that work, and what ingredients in the product is going to help reduce inflammation?
So one of the biggest, my favorite anti-inflammatory in the product is the curcumin, or the extract from turmeric, which is very, very, very anti-inflammatory. So being exposed to toxins or Actually, if you have like a chronic pathogen, maybe like a bacteria in your gut that isn't supposed to be there, that will create a constant immune response. And so a constant immune response. So inflammation is normal, right? So, you know, let's just say you roll your ankle. Your immune system has to go fix the area. So it comes in, you get some inflammation. It's there for a reason. It's helping to bring parts of your cellular structure and your immune system in to fix it. But inflammation becomes a problem when it stays around for too long. And so it's very common with gut issues to have inflammation that hangs around too long. So when you bring something in like curcumin, the extract from turmeric, it helps to dampen that response so that we can get in and start to fix other things. If you have inflammation, it's very hard to heal.
I experienced inflammation. My youngest had high inflammation. My oldest son with autism, who's now 18, had severe inflammation. But my youngest, my third son, who actually did very, very well with all the biomedical treatments, the ABA, we beat autism with my youngest. He's in mainstream school and he's doing very, very well. He still needs to take your supplement, by the way, to I'm very sure in the morning to make sure that he takes it because he has to focus in the classroom. But it was 4 years of intensive 7 hours a day of ABA, lots of brave biomedical decisions, but we got our boy back. My oldest son, he still wrestles with autism on a daily basis. In your product, I see that you have large arabinogalactin. It's a big word. I hope I got it right. How does that support the immune system?
Oh, larch is, we love larch. Larch arabinogalactin is a prebiotic. So what that means is that it feeds the good bacteria in your intestine. So when you take a prebiotic, what that should do is it should support the good bacteria that you already have in your gut so that they can grow and flourish. And when they grow and flourish, what that does is they should be able to handle the bad bacteria that are in your intestines. So that's the whole idea behind using a prebiotic. Now, larch specifically is not known to cause any sort of gastrointestinal side effects, which some of the other prebiotics are. So that's why we chose larch arabinogalactin.
Vitamin A, important because?
Vitamin A, actually, there's a very amazing study that I've actually done one little video about that they've seen with correcting a vitamin A supplementation actually shifted the bacteria balance in the intestines. So actually made more good bacteria. And so it shifted the balance to a more positive flora balance. So vitamin A does play a really big role in the intestines, in the intestinal wall integrity, because obviously we hear the word leaky gut a lot. Vitamin A has a ton of roles in the body. And we make sure in Simple Spectrum Supplement that we have a lot of beta carotene, which beta carotene the body can use to be able to convert to whatever vitamin A is needed.
Is it true that children who are picky eaters can be deficient in zinc?
Yes, yes, yes. Zinc is a difficult one anyway, because with food, so there's actually dealing with knowing where your food comes from as well, because the nutrients that make it into your food are a product of how the farmer farms. So if the farmer is putting those nutrients back into the soil, if you have a healthy soil, you may hear some biomedical doctors talking about healthy soil. If you have a healthy soil, then we're getting those nutrients back in. So that goes back to the food quality. But when you have certain conditions like intestinal issues, maybe pathogens that shouldn't be there, your body is actually going to be using more zinc than normal. Just as if you get sick, right, that would be a pathogen coming in. You end up needing more zinc because your body uses it to help to try to fight those infections. So in those cases too, if you have a deficiency, you need to be able to correct that in order to be able to do things like fight infections.
I have to ask about vitamin D3. And so many children, when they do testing, they can be low in vitamin D3. Where does vitamin D3 fit into all of this? Because I see it's in the product.
Yes. So vitamin D3 is, we see a lot of correlation in the research with different chronic disease states. So low vitamin D3 levels are associated with things like, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune conditions. So we want to make sure that there is enough D3. D3 also plays another role with the gastrointestinal tract. It helps with the integrity of the lining of the gastrointestinal tract. And it's very easy to get D3, but yet we see so much deficiency in it. We live in sunny Southern California. The amount of deficiency in Southern California is very high, even though we have sun here almost 365 days a year, because how you create vitamin D3 is on your skin. So when your skin is out in the sun, on the layer of your skin, vitamin D3 forms. So you have to be, they say, in the sun, 15 minutes with a lot of skin exposed out in the sun. You'll produce vitamin D3 on your skin. But then when you leave the sun, you have to not shower for at least 30 minutes, because after the D3 is produced on the skin, it needs to be absorbed into the bloodstream. So if you're not getting enough sun on your skin and not letting it absorb in, that's the main way to get vitamin D3. But we see it correlated with a lot of chronic health conditions. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough D3.
So a lot of parents report that they struggle to get their child's eye contact. And I've seen reports that after parents have given their children Simple Spectrum, some parents see improved eye contact. Heather, is this really true?
We honestly, we hear the most amazing feedback, so much feedback that some of it we have to be very careful with FDA and things that we're sharing. But yeah, we hear all this stuff, first words, everything like that. Yeah.
What is your message to parents raising a child with autism or ADHD? And I ask this question because in my country, in South Africa, and especially with the autism diagnosis, parents are told, make your child comfortable, accept the diagnosis, not much you can do. And when it comes to children with ADHD, parents are told, your child can't cope in a mainstream school. We have to place them in a special learning support school or remedial school. Heather, what is your message to parents raising a child with autism? And what is your message to parents raising a child with ADHD?
This is a huge one. I'd say that there's so much hope. I'd say one of the biggest things that I tell parents, early intervention. Early intervention is so important. I'm a BCBA. I'm all about ABA. And now what my goal is, I want parents to look at the big picture and look at ABA, look at nutrition, get into OT, physical therapy, all that. And I think that that's so important, looking at the big picture and look at possible nutrient deficits and what might be going on. This is actually super important for us. I didn't go too much more into my background, but I was very involved in getting SB 946, and that was insurance paying for ABA. And now here I am with insurance paying for supplements. I want insurance to recognize and understand nutrient deficits. Like, these are real, and it plays such a difference. If your child is able to sleep better and focus better, they can take an ABA better, they can take an OT and speech better, and they're just going to do so much better. And I think that that's so important.
It's so nice to hear that you were involved in getting ABA approved by medical insurance in America. We are really struggling with that in our country, and the parents in our country are definitely also struggling with getting their medical insurance to consider covering any kind of nutritional supplement. So it's so nice to hear what's happening in America. What is your long-term goal for Simple Spectrum?
Just continue being we're already worldwide. We're much larger. When I started my ABA company, my goal was to help so many families in other countries, because I have families in Denmark and places that I just wasn't seeing access to treatment, but just continuing to grow internationally and making this. When we first came out, actually, we were mainly selling to clinicians' offices. We were at MAPS, Medical Association Pediatric Special Needs, and selling to them. And we just wanted to bring a product like this and make it more accessible and affordable to parents. So I think just continuing to grow like that, put other trusted products, honestly, even kind of not call out other products, but we have next month a fish oil coming out, and that's a DHA, and it has EPA and DPA. And a lot of people don't know much about DPA, which is amazing as well. But a lot of people also don't know and understand what is in your fish oils. And so we were able to make a fish oil that is made with sunflower instead of soy. And a lot of people aren't aware that soy is in their fish oil. So I think just, you know, bringing more products that parents can trust, that they know are gluten-free, casein-free, no binding agents, the best and most bioavailable ingredients. I get so many parents being like, hey, why is this so expensive compared to like a certain gummy vitamin or a Flintstone vitamin or Centrum? And I was like, they're just not comparable. When you look at what is in it and how many different bioactive, bioavailable ingredients are in it, it's just such a great product. So I think just putting better products out and more products and supporting our families. We also really, really want to be known as a brand that educates and supports our families. So you'll see Dr. Shea on Fridays talking about her informative videos. I do so many BCBA tips that I share with parents as well. We have Jacqueline Larita from The Housewife. She reached out to us, and she, because she saw such a difference in her son, and was just like, hey, like, what is in this? Like, I love this product. He's sleeping better and focusing better and just doing so much better, and wanted to be involved. And she owns a portion of our company as well. And she does also, we do a lot of lives with influential people and just want to support families. We just did it with Dr. Rosenau, very well-known biomedical doctor, but just answering questions that parents need support in, and being known as a brand that cares and supports and educates families.
I am blown away by your passion. I want to thank you both so much for making this product available. It's already affected so many lives, and we are so excited to now have this product available in South Africa. For parents listening from South Africa, you can now access this product, and you can get in contact with Rochelle. Her number is 082-771-6487, or you can go to www.simplespectrumsolutionssa.co.za, and you can order Simple Spectrum Nutrition off their website. But it is just wonderful that this product is available in South Africa. You have definitely succeeded in combining the most important ingredients to support methylation, mitochondria, to correct those deficiencies that we see in children with autism, especially those picky eaters, the children with ADHD, your ingredients to help support their immune system. You've got something in there to reduce inflammation, you know, and you've got the antioxidants as well. So I don't think we could have asked for a better product. And I think what is so amazing is your passion, and also that you've, you know, been conscious about making this affordable to families, because families in South Africa feel very financially burdened by the autism battle. Not only is ABA not covered in our country, but neither is, you know, any kind of nutritional support. And so thank you so much for making this possible. I'm also very, very excited to hear that you're making a fish oil available, because that is so important for proper brain function as well. And you know, I've given it to my own children, and I've seen such wonderful results. So we cannot wait to sample and to experience your fish oil.
We'll definitely get you out some.
Fantastic. So just thank you to both of you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.